Was anyone surprised to see that The Marvels is bombing at the box office right now? The writing was on the wall for this one. I think this movie is an all around embarrassment for Marvel. I saw this movie opening night and I gave myself the weekend to think about it before making a video. And the only thing that surprised me about this movie was how bad this movie was. This is not hyperbole when I say this, but I think it's the worst MCU movie ever. I don't even really know where to begin with this movie, so I I have notes on my phone so that I don't get sidetracked, to keep myself organized, because there's just so much to talk about this movie. I'm going to start off by just giving you guys a rundown of what it's about. For those that don't know, this movie follows three characters: Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau, and Kamala Khan. They all somehow get their powers entangled, so anytime they use their powers at the same time, they swap places. That's the big gimmick of this movie. But they gotta stop this villain who is trying to take resources from other planets to save her own planet. I want to just start off by talking about the good aspects of this movie, just to get that out of the way, because there's not many. In fact, I think there's only one. I think there's just one good aspect of this movie, and that is the character of Kamala Khan. She's clearly the only interesting character in this movie, and that is large in part due to the actress playing her, Iman Vellani. She is so good in this movie. She's clearly the only one having fun in her role. And while I thought the Miss Marvel show was kind of mid, I did think that she was the best part of it, and I thought that the character of Kamala Khan could do really well in a better movie or show. But I gotta say, even she could not save this mess of a movie, because that's what it is. It's just a giant mess. This movie flows like a brain with ADHD, and I know this because I have ADHD. My thoughts can go all over the place sometimes, and that is what happens in this movie. This movie is all over the place. It is constantly moving so fast. If you want to know what having ADHD is like, go see The Marvels. Actually, I'm kidding. Please do not go see this movie. Do not waste your money on this movie unless you're like me and you like watching bad movies. This whole thing about the movie feeling jumbled really is in large part due to the editing of this movie. This is the first time I've ever noticed bad editing in a Marvel movie. I gotta tell you, for the first 5 to 10 minutes, I could not tell what was going on. It moves way too fast for you to process any information that's going on, especially in the first act. It really feels like they're trying to speed run a Marvel movie, and I guess they succeeded, because this is the shortest MCU movie ever. While this movie is rushed, it also wastes time on stupid shit that doesn't affect the main plot of the movie. This brings me to the writing of the movie. There is no story. There's just plot. There's just a series of events that happen in the movie. There's no emotional weight, and there's no feeling other than confusion. And there is certainly no character development. They just get new suits. Shittier suits. Let me go off on a little tangent here. Why does every new superhero movie insist on giving the characters new suits every movie? You had a good suit to start with. Why do you keep changing it? I mean, I guess we know the real reason why they do this. It's to sell new toys. But you go back to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, Peter Parker had the same damn suit for all 3 movies there. They never changed it one. They only changed it in the 3rd movie, and it was just the same suit, but black, because he got the symbiote. But why does it have to be a new suit every movie? And this is how we get some dog shit suits. They just feel the need to change them, and they probably run out of ideas, but they change them anyway, even though they couldn't come up with a better suit. So then we get suits that look like these.
I can't.
what baffles me is that Captain Marvel already has a new suit. And I actually liked it. It was way better than the suit she had in the first Captain Marvel movie. And then they ruin it. They change it. You get this shit. Like, what? I'm sorry, who designed this? But I'm sorry, going back to the lack of character development, there is none here. And forget about Nick Fury. Like, Nick Fury is completely wasted in this movie. The Nick Fury we got in Secret Invasion and the Nick Fury you have here in the Marvels are not the same character. It feels like he was replaced by a Skrull again. The only person who, like, they almost gave development to was Kamala, and this would have made the movie so good. There was such a glimmer of hope for this movie to have like a story to it. I'm gonna issue a spoiler warning here. If you haven't seen this movie and you really care about spoilers, here, you've been warned. But let me tell you, this is not a movie you should be worried about spoilers for. Don't go see this movie. But there's this scene at one point in the movie where the villain, I guess she's taking the atmosphere from this planet where all these Skrulls were living. So this is destroying their planet, and so our three main ladies have to save these Skrulls, or save as many Skrulls as they can and evacuate the planet. And they only have like limited ships and limited space on each ship, so they can't save everyone. But of course, Kamala Khan, being the, naive teenager she is trying to save everyone. And Captain Marvel stops her and is trying to get her to come on this ship so they can leave. And she's like, no, we have to save everyone. And Captain Marvel says, no, we have to save who we can. And she gets her onto the ship and they leave. And you see this facial reaction from Kamala where it seems like she's being hit with a heavy dose of reality. Like she is just now seeing Captain Marvel for who she really is. I forgot to preface this, that in this movie, she loves Captain Marvel. You probably know this from her show. She is the biggest Captain Marvel fan. I don't know why, because Captain Marvel is a boring character. At least the MCU version of Captain Marvel. But for some reason, Kamala Khan loves Captain Marvel, and she finally gets to meet her in this movie. It's kind of a neat little moment. Like, you're seeing this girl meet her hero for her first time, and she gets to go on an adventure with her. But this moment here where she is being forced to leave innocent people behind because they have to save the people that they have already. This could have been a really good growing moment for Kamala to really see Captain Marvel in a different light without those rose-tinted glasses. Because she wants to be a hero too. She wants to be part of the Avengers. But it seems like she doesn't really know what being Avenger is really like. And this is the harsh reality. But of course, no. The movie just drops this whole theme. It takes a good idea and just chucks it out the window immediately. She has this reaction to this grim moment, and you think that this moment is going to change her view of Captain Marvel. And then in the very next scene, they are with all these Skrulls in this ship, and they've just left this planet that was their home and was destroyed. And Kamala Khan is talking to this little girl, and she's like, don't worry, Captain Marvel's gonna fix this. And she just immediately keeps going back to being a fangirl of Captain Marvel. And I'm like, this could have been such an interesting storyline. This could have been such great character development, but no, they just drop it. They pretend like that moment never happened. Speaking of characters, I want to start talking about the villain now. I couldn't even remember this villain's name. I had to look her up. Her name is Darman? No, but I really do think this was the worst MCU villain. And that is saying a lot because there are some really bad villains in the MCU franchise. First of all, it is 2023. How are we still having shitty Marvel villains? Ever since Phase 1, there's sirens going on right now. A lot of the time I feel like I live in Gotham City with the amount of sirens that I hear. Ever since Phase 1 of the MCU, the number one criticism from everyone was that the villains suck. How on earth are we in? What phase are we in? Are we in phase what 5 now? How are we still having bad villains? Do you guys remember Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy? Well, this villain Darben is like a discount version of Ronan, and Ronan was already a bad villain. So that just tells you all you need to know about this villain. The end of the movie revolves around her trying to like steal the sun from our solar system and bring it to her solar system. And so she needs the 2 armbands so that she could create a portal to transport. I think this is what she needs to do, because I don't really remember a lot that happens in this movie. This movie just feels like a complete blur. So I think what she was trying to do is she needed both bands to create a big enough portal so that she could bring the whole sun to her planet, because the sun for her planet is dying. So she gets the bands and she's like, she knows that creating this portal is going to kill her and she doesn't care. She's going to do it anyway. But she does it and she ends up creating a portal to like another universe, like a multiverse. And I'm thinking, like, I thought her planet was in this universe, like the universe that the movie takes place in. Why did she create a portal to another universe? Because then Monica Rambeau has to go and close it from the inside. I don't know why she couldn't close it from the side of her own universe. That didn't make much sense to me. But she closes it from the side of the other universe and she gets trapped there. And they're like, "Oh no, Monica's gone." And I'm like,
I mean, like, I'm supposed to be upset by that?
but my question is, why was that Darben's goal? I don't know. Maybe there's an explanation. Maybe someone in the comments can explain this to me, but I just don't know why she literally sacrificed herself to create a portal that wasn't even going to take the sun to her planet. I don't know. There's like other issues with this movie, like the stupid jokes. This movie's not funny. It tries, it's not. There's 2 bits that this movie does that really shocked me. I was surprised at how bad these bits are. You've probably heard about them. One of them is they go to this planet where people only communicate through song. And yes, it is as cringy as it sounds. They thought they had a great joke on their hands with this one because they milked this. I'm sitting in the theater watching this whole sequence play out and I'm like, this is what the movie chooses to spend its time on? But honestly, I don't think this musical planet bit even comes close to being as bad as the space cats scene. The space kittens. Now, I thought the musical planet had like not much to do with the plot of the movie, but at least that was a planet that Darben was targeting. So like at least there was a story reason for why they were there. The kittens had no business being in this movie. It just completely distracts from the threat at hand. So at some point in the movie, they cut back to this space station that Nick Fury and Kamala's family is on, and the crew on this space station are like finding these little like pink egg thingies like around the space station. And the movie builds this up as like there's a trader on our space station that's leaving these around. Like, we don't know what these are. These could be dangerous. And then at some point towards like the 3rd act of the movie, the space station gets damaged and they have to evacuate everybody, and there's not enough escape pods for everyone on the space station. So they're like, oh my god, what do we do? And right in this moment, Nick Fury finds Goose, who's the space cat from the first Captain Marvel movie. They find the pink things around Goose and they realize, oh, these are eggs. Goose laid eggs. And right in this moment, all of these eggs hatch and out come these space kittens. All these kittens start sucking up the crew members and they all realize like, oh, we gotta let the cats just eat everybody. Because it's way easier to transport like a litter of kittens than it is to transport like hundreds of people. So all these people are just like running away and being chased by these kittens, and these kittens are like shooting out tentacles from their mouth and just sucking these people. And Nick Fury's like, I think it was Nick Fury is over the loudspeaker. He's like, "Let everybody attention, let the cats eat you." And all while this is happening, they're playing the song Memory from the musical Cats. And you see this whole montage play out. And I'm just watching the movie. I'm like, what does this have to do with the main plot of this movie? This moment in the movie is what solidified the Marvels as the worst MCU movie for me. That was the point of no return where I was just sitting there. I'm like, wow, this movie is garbage. I mean, that pretty much sums up a lot of what made this movie bad. This movie just doesn't work. It's bad. I will say my biggest issue with the first Captain Marvel movie and Captain Marvel as a character in the MCU is that she's just too powerful. Captain Marvel doesn't really seem to have any weaknesses, at least in the first Captain Marvel movie. She doesn't really like face against anyone else who matches her power level. It's not just the fact that she's overpowered, she's just boring. She just really doesn't have a personality, really. But getting back to this movie, I think this movie fixes some of those criticisms. I think she has more of a personality. She is definitely not overpowered in this movie, and that is mostly because of the place swapping mechanic. So like she can't really go all out with her powers because she's just going to end up swapping places with Kamala or Monica. And then I will say they do kind of give her some weaknesses, but they're not physical weaknesses. Her weakness in this movie is like she's afraid of people thinking she's a monster. But this really only becomes a problem for her until it just doesn't. It takes like one conversation for her to get over this fear of being seen as a monster. But it feels a little rushed, and it feels like it just missed the mark here. But yeah, this movie was just really bad, and I'm honestly really shocked this movie got released in this state. I think this marks a turn for the MCU. Like this movie really put the MCU's reputation on life support. If you thought the reputation was bad before, it's even worse now because of this movie, because they allowed this movie to happen. Like I don't even know how this movie really got greenlit. I guess I could talk a little bit about the post-credit scene from the Marvels. I'm sure you all know what it is now. It's an X-Men tease. Like they're finally bringing in the X-Men into the MCU. So I don't know. I'm just worried because the only character from the X-Men that they show here in this scene is Beast, and he is just all CGI. I've seen a couple other people criticize this choice, and I agree with them. I don't think they should use a CGI Beast. I mean, you're never going to beat a practical Beast. I hope they take everyone's criticisms of Beast and apply that to whenever they show him next. I really hope they don't fuck up the X-Men, because the X-Men are really just like the last saving grace for the MCU, because the Avengers have pretty much gone to shit. Like no one cares about this new Avengers team. It just feels like the C team. It seems like X-Men and Fantastic Four are really like the superhero teams that people actually care about. Honestly, I don't really feel like talking about the Marvels anymore. I think this will just be a stain on the MCU for years to come. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more content like this. And until next time, take care.